Well, we have several severe weather chances, the least of which I think is probably today's. Now, this is the official outlook for today. I marked Springfield on the map here, and that's just for general thunderstorms, even though I think that's probably a waning idea. Then we have the 1 and the 2 levels of severe weather threat right here, representing these areas here. It ramps up pretty quickly, and I'll show you the radar here in a minute and show you why I think that most of the Ozarks probably doesn't need to worry about tonight's threat much. And when I was putting these graphics together, the SPC updates these right after noon. So they did put a tornado outlook out for 2%. And when they upgraded, I think they're probably going to back off on that quite a bit. Although in northeast Arkansas and southeastern Missouri, I still think that threat lasts into the evening hours, most likely. But Friday all along has been the big event. And let's focus in on that now. So on Friday, earlier today, the Storm Prediction Center did pull the trigger on a 4 severe weather threat in this area from West Plains eastward. So this is, pretty big, and that's moderate risk of severe weather is what that used to be called, still is, I think. And so it ramps up pretty quickly, and I'll show you why I think that this area right down in here might have the first thunderstorm of the day here. It's been pretty consistent signal, and if it does fire, it would be something to watch. It looks like it might be a lone cell, and this certainly will get worse as it goes to the east. Now, the tornado outlook for tomorrow has a 10% risk. That's a 10% chance of a tornado within 25 miles of any point. West Plains is included in that. So is Houston and Texas County, and all points fanning out northeast, east, and southeast from there. And then a 5, and then eventually a 2%. So the whole idea here is that thunderstorms will form out here and then ramp up pretty quickly as they head toward the east. And it could be rather early in the day on Friday, too. These storms could be firing up on radar as early as right before lunchtime. So something worth watching, and we'll take a look at some of the model data here in just a minute. But let me round this out, though. Over the weekend, I think we're going to be pretty quiet with the plains acting up. And then on Monday, we have a pretty typical jet stream overriding a dry line out to the west of us. And the implication from this particular outlook is that the thunderstorms will remain at their worst in the middle of that. And then toward the end of the day, now keep in mind these weather outlooks, all of them, are meant to end at 7 a.m. the next day. So this would be a 24-hour forecast that would end Tuesday morning. So that implies that anything that develops here would kind of drift into western Missouri late on Monday night, early on Tuesday, setting the stage for then Tuesday's outlook, which is dead center on the Ozarks here. So that's something that really needs to be watched as well. And to have a 15% chance that many days out is quite a statement from the Storm Prediction Center. And it really reflects the fact that another jet stream disturbance is coming in. And the difference this time is that we have ample moisture. The dew points are higher. You feel it out there now. So that's fueling even higher instability. So even crazier things can happen sometimes, even if some other parameters don't line up quite right. If you have excessive instability, sometimes they can. So let's take a look at some model data. We'll take a look at the HRRR model, and this is CAPE. It's really just a measure of unstable air, and I have this starting tomorrow morning, Friday, at 7 a.m., and quite honestly, most of the Ozarks, not impressive. So we are waiting for a boundary to return to the north to really set this up, and we're just waiting for the heat of the day, of course. Now, if I advance this, here's 8 a.m., 9, 10, right there, 11, and then this is what's interesting to me. We have this kind of thunderstorm that the models have consistently tried to develop right in this area here. I'm not sure why my marker's not working. Anyway, you can see it right there down around Monette. Again, the exact placement of this is not going to be ironclad by any means, but I think this area, generally from extreme southwest Missouri down into eastern Oklahoma, has consistently shown some indication that thunderstorms are going to develop. And if they do, I think they're going to go into a pretty good environment. So let's keep this going. You can follow the thunderstorms because they stabilize the atmosphere as they go. So there they go toward the boot heel. So now we're looking at about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Springfield at this point is almost in the clear as a weak cool front moves in, but this cluster is rapidly advancing toward the boot heel and is going to be out of the area. In fact, that's 4 o'clock, and most of the Ozarks are in the clear, except maybe south central Missouri and north central Arkansas. So that's one thing we can look at. We can also look at reflectivity. So this is what the model thinks the radar will look like. So let's try to find the initiation point here. There it is right there. So that's 10 a.m. right along the intersection of Arkansas, Missouri, and Oklahoma. And again, if I look back over other runs of this model for the last several hours, it has been showing up there more or less. So that gives me confidence that that is a real thing. And if it develops, that white right there is a pretty good hail core you see just entering Stone County. And again, it's dangerous to interpret these exactly. But the general idea, though, is that if any thunderstorms can develop down in that area and move due east, they would move into a very favorable zone for unstable air. Now, we're starting to see a long helicity track right there. That's what that is. That gray area looks like a snail trail. That's indicating that there's a strong rotating updraft with that particular cell, which would be certainly a criteria for any kind of severe weather. And tornadoes would be a little more selective with their low-level wind fields. This is 2 o'clock in the afternoon already, and this thing is gone. It's out of the Ozarks. But it could be a significant severe weather threat and maybe a tornado threat too as it continues to move off. And it's moving into that higher risk area, as you recall. That's 4 o'clock. So Springfield and all of southwest Missouri is in the clear by then. We have a little regeneration occurring. Right, that's 6 o'clock right there. 7 o'clock, another line forms. Now, these could experience more favorable low-level winds for tornadoes, but they also have, I think, a tendency to form a line, which is not favorable. They kind of trip over each other when they do that. So, again, southeast Missouri. But our threat would primarily come in the early part of the day. If Springfield's included in that, we'd be on the northern edge of it. Northern Arkansas, extreme southern Missouri, I think, would see some activity right around lunchtime, and those storms would quickly move off to the east. And that would be the height of the model data that I can show you here for the next, roughly 24 hours plus. And then we'll tackle, Sunday night, Monday, and Tuesday in subsequent videos.